Brett Favre's texts used in lawsuit over Mississippi welfare funds. In one message, Favre asks if the media could find out where he got the funds and how much he got. Obviously, yes, Brett Favre, they could find out. Now, thankfully, you're a millionaire, and it seems as though because you're a white millionaire, former NFL quarterback, that the media is really ignoring the story. Ignoring the fact that Brett Favre got $5 million of welfare money from the state of Mississippi, one of the poorest states in the country. $5 million given to a privileged, wealthy, white former athlete to build a volleyball court for his daughter. And apparently the guy in Mississippi who runs or used to run the welfare department has already pled guilty. But yeah, I think Brett Favre needs to be treated like, imagine a scenario, right? Let's imagine a scenario real quick where a poor person, right? Somebody in need of money to survive, right? A poor person were to steal $5 million from a wealthy person, right? Somebody that probably wouldn't even notice $5 million. Like, they could lose $5 million in a day and they wouldn't stress about it. They wouldn't be worried about being homeless. They wouldn't be worried about how to feed their family. They wouldn't be worried about how to pay their bills. $5 million could go away, and they would be living the exact same lifestyle. Now, if a poor person were to steal $5 million from a wealthy person, the speed at which the poor person would be arrested, in prison, and the amount of time that person would be locked away would be astounding. The speed and efficiency at which the freedom of a poor person would be taken away because a wealthy person had money stolen from them. Now, that's how Brett Favre should be treated. Brett Favre should be treated like the poor person in that scenario, right? Who actually would be a life-changing to get $5 million, right? Would be life-saving for a poor person to get $5 million, right? They wouldn't be paying for their daughter's volleyball court with $5 million, right? They could probably live a life to where maybe on the weekends they go play volleyball, right? A sport that probably doesn't really cross the minds of a lot of people who are struggling to survive. From Brett Favre, who was a multimillionaire, former NFL player, one of the most well-known NFL players of all time. Brett Favre. You want to talk about a story that made me recontextualize There's Something About Mary, where Brett Favre plays a good guy? Well, guess what? He's not a good guy. He's an asshole, and he should be treated the same way a poor person would be treated if they had stolen $5 million from somebody that wouldn't notice $5 million being gone. But that's not what's happening. If anything, if anything, I doubt he sees jail time. He's probably going to be charged, community service, probation. I don't know. It's going to be like he's going to have a little red mark on his hand from how hard he gets slapped as a punishment. Because that's just the world we live in. We live in a world where wealthy people get away with committing crimes all of the time, stealing all of the time, misappropriation of funds, laundering money, stealing money, falsifying taxes, all the time. Get away with it regularly. Have zero problem stealing from the poorest people in the country. People who need money to survive in Mississippi had $5 million stolen by somebody who doesn't need the money to build a volleyball court for his daughter. An amazing volleyball court, I can imagine. $5 million. It's not like some beach volleyball court he was doing. It's probably like a stadium. It's like in addition to one of his houses. It is disgusting. And the media isn't blowing it up. You know, if this was a black quarterback, like a Kaepernick, right? Or Vic, right? Black quarterbacks that, you know, one guy, okay, dogfighting, horrible, whatever. He was punished, okay? Probably punished far more than Brett Favre's going to be punished. Kaepernick lost his career for kneeling, protesting the violence that is perpetrated by the police on a daily basis, regularly killing unarmed men, women, and children all of the time. Almost every day there's another video of police officers unloading massive amounts of bullets into the back of an unarmed human being, right? People getting their homes broken into by police and unalived while they're laying in bed. Constantly happens, right? If Brett Favre was a black quarterback who was found to have stolen $5 million from the poorest people in the poorest state, it would be major news. ESPN would be running the story constantly. I never watched ESPN. I had a roommate that loved ESPN, and SportsCenter plays constantly throughout the day, and the stories don't change much. And you better believe when Tiger Woods had his little scandal, it was playing constantly. When Kobe Bryant had his scandal, it was playing constantly. But you have this white millionaire quarterback in Brett Favre, steals $5 million from the poorest people in the poorest state, and it's crickets. It's crickets. This isn't even, like, this post I found wasn't even a major news network. It's not like it should have been easy. There should have been a plethora of news posts on Instagram that I should have chosen from in order to talk about this story that happened this week. But I had to dig. And that's absurd. And just shows the type of country we live in, where there is a completely different set of rules for wealthy white dudes than there are for everybody else. And it's disgusting. And Brett Favre should be treated like a poor person who stole $5 million from a rich person. Because if that were to happen, this would be insanely different. He would not have any freedoms. His life would be fucked up forever. And this is going to be a speed bump on Brett Favre's career. A speed bump. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I don't even like football. Is stupid. It's people running into each other, causing brain damage to sell pizza and beer. It's like all commercials. Tried to get into football. When I lived in San Diego, I'm like, finally, I live in a city. There's a team here. At least when I lived in San Diego, there was a team in San Diego, the Chargers. It's like, yes, I'm going to be a Chargers fan. 2 years rooted for the Chargers. Guess what I found out? This is stupid. They have coaches that don't know what they're doing. The game itself is mostly commercials. They run a play. There's a lot of standing around, not a lot of action in football, right? Brutal hits, concussions all over the place. But if I'm going to watch people get concussions, I'll watch MMA. At least that's action-packed. Football is not action-packed and full of posers. I can't tell you how many times I worked at Costco selling electronics. I can't tell you how many Sundays families decked out in Charger gear, pretending to be the biggest Charger fans, walk by the electronics department where we have the Charger game on the TVs against management's wishes. They don't want to sell TVs. They tried to do everything to keep us from doing our jobs. Charger game on the TVs, family decked out in Charger gear walking by, and they didn't even, oblivious to the fact that there's a game going on. Posers. massive posers. It's like, and then people using it to get in arguments and fights. Ugh, it's so ridiculous. So pathetic. And fuck Brett Favre. Not only did he steal money, but he also ruined one of the best Farrelly Brothers movies. There's Something About Mary. Right? Recontextualizes that whole character. Because the whole point was that his character was super nice. Not super nice.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.